Okay, so hi everyone, good evening. I believe I'm audible and visible, guys. Please confirm so that we can start with the class. Okay, everyone, good evening. Raj, Vaibhav, Rishabh, Jitender, everyone, Sridhar, yeah. So, fine, guys, let's start with the class, basically. So, in my last class, I was talking about Kubernetes. And In this class, so I would like to talk about basically Terraform, or you can say infrastructure and beyond. But before getting into that, right? So basically Terraform, Kubernetes, Docker Kubernetes is fine. So even if you are doing a small big project, so obviously you will end up using these baselines, which is Docker and Kubernetes. But let's say if I'm talking about a Terraform, right? So Terraform is basically a software, or you can say a library or package by IBM, so where it is going to use HCL, like a programming language, HashiCorp configuration language basically. And with the help of that, so you will be able to spin the infrastructure. But so it's not like you will just go and randomly you will spin the infrastructure. I mean, like with any kind of a capacity, any number of machines, that is not going to happen in any kind of a situation. So first of all, you have to go through a proper architecture, proper planning, proper capacity planning. You have to do it, and then only you will be able to. And then you have to take care of even a functional requirement as well as technical requirement. Then only you all will be able to spin the infrastructure. So before teaching you a Terraform, so I would like to talk about and I would like to discuss about one of the use cases, and then how do we do a real estimations, by the way. Because if you are going to work and if you are going to behave as a FDE, forward deployment engineer, so which is getting a lot of popularity nowadays, and every other company is looking for a forward deployment engineer, because every company is not looking for a big team nowadays. So every company is looking for that one person, so who will be able to even interact with the team, who will be able to interact with the client customers, who will be able to think about the product as a product manager, who will be able to think as an architect, developer, front end, back end, infra, each and everything. And then they will be able to, or he or she will be able to spin the entire things, or like ship the entire product, and then only, and then they will be able to maintain and manage. Even as a freelancer, if you will go and if you will try to get some sort of a work, so it's just you, right? At the end of the day, it's just you, and you have to do each and everything. So technically, even as a freelancer, so people used to work as a FDEs, a forward deployment engineer. And it's nothing new, right? Nothing new. But yes, for a regular job, like a obviously it's new thing. But for a very good freelancer, so who used to get a very good payment, so they are by default they are FDs. And this is nothing new concept, I would say. Just getting popular because of the AI and everything, because now it is possible practically to train yourself and build yourself in a such a manner that you can do each and everything on your own without having any kind of a dependencies for any kind of a product, whether it's a AI, whether it's a non AI. Eventually you will be able to do everything in every domain. Even someone is going to ask you to do some sort of a blockchain project, so after doing some sort of a research, even though if you don't have an idea about a blockchain much, maybe I'll spend a week of time or 10 days of time to investigate about a core concept and philosophy around a blockchain, and then I will be able to build it. Because around that core concept, there will be a software engineering, right? There will be a system design, there will be a software engineering, there will be an infra comes into picture at the end of the day, apart from the core philosophy. Same goes with AI, same goes with big data, same goes with any other things that you are going to develop in this entire world in terms of a software. So let's go ahead and let's try to see that how we can try to do a planning. First of all, what and all things we used to consider while doing a planning, and then only, right? So then only we will be able to basically spin any kind of, or we can plan for, like launching any kind of a infrastructure. Otherwise we should not do it. And then only we can go and we can try to understand a Terraform, and eventually as an outcome of that Terraform class, so we will try to spin everything in a automated manner, maybe by using a Docker, maybe by using a Kubernetes, or both. Let's say we'll do both, right? And even we'll try to involve a multiple cloud platform. So first of all, start with like AWS, but Azure and GCP also will try to do it. And then I'll be sharing that Terraform template with all of you, so that even in future, so Azure, AWS, GCP, bare metal, everywhere you can try to use that template, and then spin the environment after doing those changes as per the product requirement and project requirement that you will be having. Make sense, guys? Yes. Yeah. So what we are going to do and what we are going to discuss? Yes. Also found useful the recent AWS YouTube videos. Yeah, so that was something that I have discussed in my ops classes. So I've just uploaded that for marketing. Okay. Along with that, so basically our team has launched one more initiative. So those who would like to create a videos and you would like to get paid on an hourly basis. So I believe there is a small group that we have, a separate group apart from your class groups. So where a couple of people from your batches are already available. So if you would like to teach on our platform in terms of creating a self-paced courses projects basically, or maybe in terms of interview questions and all those things. So you can do that. Basically, you can just drop a mail or maybe create a support ticket, and from there it will be redirected. And yeah, so it will be a paid opportunity. So a couple of people are already doing it from your batch and from every batches, by the way. So we are involving people now, right? So yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's try to understand. And you can do it in Hindi, English, whatsoever you want. We are looking for a best outcome. That's it. So here, scribble link, and so this is basically a pre-Terraform, right? So before getting into a Terraform, so you should understand that what I'm like, what I should do before even going into a Terraform. I'll be sharing a beautiful detailed documentation as well, a very lengthy document. But first of all, let's try to understand things over here. So let's say infra planning, right? Infra planning in software engineering. Infra planning. Okay. So now, whenever we try to plan the infrastructure, that what is the resources that we are supposed to use. So whether we should use a EC2, how many EC2 machine I should use, with what capacity, whether I should go serverless over there, whether I should use some sort of a Lambda services, whether I should use a databases, again which databases, whether I should use a CPUs or GPUs instances. So before getting into that particular label, because to spin all of those machine, we have to write a Terraform, right? The infrastructure as a code. Basically, yak I will try to set up, and yak I will try to write. But again, so again, when I talk about a code, so basically code must comes from my business requirement, not some out of random that go and spin one EC2 machine, and then one databases with this capacity, and then use this services, that services, and connect each and everything. No, it should not happen in that particular manner, because whatsoever you are going to write inside a Terraform, that will be done, that will be created by default, right? That will be created by default. So basically, what AWS suggests, even, right? So AWS always try to recommend you to evaluate technically six areas. So whenever you are trying to spin any kind of a infrastructure, a real one, not a dummy one, for a real project. So first of all, the very first AWS criteria is, or AWS recommendation is, that whenever you are looking for an infrastructure, so obviously you have to look into a operational excellence. Operational excellence. The second thing that you should look into is a security. The third thing that you should look into a reliability. The fourth thing that you should look into a performance efficiency. The fifth one that you should look into is a cost optimization. The sixth one that you should look into is a sustainability. So these are the six principles you should always look into it. And whenever you are going to, spin any kind of infrastructure, just a minute, guys. Okay, so someone has pinged inside a group saying that Portal LMS Live is not working. No, it's working. Why people are facing this issue? I just checked. It's working. Okay, fine, everyone, leave it. So basically, I was talking about infra planning, right? So this is what AWS recommends, that these are the six things that you should take care of. So whenever you are talking about or whenever you are trying to spin the infrastructure. Now, right, now. So what we are supposed to do? So again, if we have to build our infrastructure, so couple of things before getting into our infrastructure, we have to understand and we have to list down. So first of all, we have to list down a business requirement, that what actually a business looking for. So the very first part is from our side. So business requirements. Second thing is basically a functional requirement. The third one is basically a non-functional requirement. The fourth one is basically a capacity estimation. The fifth one is technically a high level architecture. The sixth one is basically a service and technology selection. The seventh one that we should look into is a IEAS, infrastructure as a code. So then this Terraform comes into picture. Then we should look into basically a CI/CD deployment. Then we should look into basically monitoring, scaling, and optimization. So like I said, directly you should not, and you should never get into infrastructure basically, or you should not get into creating an infrastructure or spinning some of the services or some of the other services at any point of a time. Before getting into that, so you should always look into basically all of these things which I have already listed down, so which is a business requirement, a functional requirement, a non-functional requirement, a capacity estimation, high-level architecture, and then service and technology selection, infrastructure. Then from here, so you can start writing a code, and here, so you can start setting up this one. So now what and how I will be able to gather a business requirement. Let's suppose I'm an individual and I'm working into one of the project, or someone has assigned me that particular project. So what I'm going to do and how I will be gathering this business requirement, and what kind of a business requirement that or what kind of a questions I'm going to ask, what kind of a document I'm going to prepare. So first of all, let's say I'm talking to a business owner, or I'm talking to someone who has assigned me or rewarded me a project. So I will try to ask them, or I will try to gather a couple of requirements. So obviously, if there is some business owner and they have asked me to build something for them, so they must be having some sort of idea around the product. Obviously, they will must not be aware about a technical or maybe a features and maybe a infrastructure and all of those things in 99.99% cases. But yes, so let's say a person is saying that I'm trying to build basically a AI education assistant. In our cases, in case of Euron, let's suppose, so I'm trying to build one product. So basically my product is AI education assistant. Now what this does basically, so here, so this particular product is going to help a student to first of all log in, and then after login, so they can try to dump as much document as possible, and then there will be other class wise, topic wise, subject wise documents, and all the other materials will be available over there. So they can try to upload their own document, maybe handwritten document, maybe like some books or something they will be able to dump. And then from that book, that 100 notes, that like material which has been like uploaded by the students, or let's say from organization I have uploaded, so they can go and they must be able to ask the questions, right? And then they must be able to get an answer. As an answer, they must be able to get a visualization of that particular answer, maybe a 3D image of those answer. People must be able to get maybe like expanded view kind of a images and explanation, maybe some sort of a video explanation they must be able to get. So that is the final recommendation, so that this product should help anyone and everyone to make them understand at the end of the day, not just like chat only. Because yeah, so sometime people is not having, or people don't feel like reading out the chats like a chat gpt. So they look for the interactive assistant, so where assistance is going to ask even a cross question, that do you understand these things, do you understand these things, do you understand these things. And then maybe with the help of videos, maybe with the help of like 3D images, expanded view images, or maybe with the help of visualizer, or handwritten notes, or maybe a sticky notes, because all of these things are possible practically, right? These things are practically possible. So this system must be able to help that particular student, right? That particular student. Now, so again, I'm talking about this particular system, but this particular system is relevant in everywhere and in every place. So wherever we talk about a knowledge base, in every company's department as well, in every process, right? And in every process, so where there is a internal employee who used to interact with the company, and then even the customers basically, right? Because even customers will be like asking about some product, asking about some services, and that system must be able to convince them. So that is a kind of a product, let's say, we are trying to build. So as of now, let's stick to one domain, which is a education domain. So AI education assistant we are trying to create in this particular place, right? Now, so here, like I said, so this educational assistant should provide a login option, registration option as well, registration option. This assistant should provide basically upload material, handwritten notes, or maybe some PDF, or maybe a PPT, maybe some video, audio. So whatsoever they want, they will be able to upload all of these materials, right? From their end, and systems must be able to filter out. And even there will be some sort of a preloaded material which will be available. Then what will happen? So they can ask any kind of a question, ask any kind of a questions, and it's system's responsibility, not a user responsibility, to understand the intent of the questions basically, and not just help in terms of a text, but it should be able to help in a variety of a manner, so that at the end of the day, I'm creating a assistant. So it's a responsibility of this assistant to make my student understand, and like my student should feel good about it basically, that yes, I'm able to understand this particular topic, and they should come back again and again and again, because that's going to be my unique USP for my product. Because anyhow, chat GPTs are available, all of these things are available, you can ask about any questions, and obviously it is going to answer all of these things. But how I will be able to create something which is going to focus not just on giving an answer, or splitting some sort of 100 lines, or 200 or 500 lines, or giving some sort of a document, but just to make sure that my student are able to understand it, right? My student must be able to understand it. So this is the unique system which I'm talking about over here. So here, basically, when a student is going to ask a question, so it should be able to give an answer automatically in audio format, in short maybe a video format, in variety of a image format, and in a text format, and that will be a system's decision, so that it can start interacting with the users, and make sure that users are able to understand it. Okay, fine. It should also store all the conversation, store all the conversation, Now, after storing all the conversation, basically, it should be able to understand the user's intent from history and give better learning learning experience. Now, basically, user must be able to access this entire application via mobile and web both. So this is overall product explanation or product ideation that I have, let's say, and I have to build this particular product. And obviously, I have to host it and I have to basically scale it on a particular, infrastructure, basically. So here, whenever we are talking about this kind of a product, basically, so lot of component I will have to build. So component of product. So component wise, I will be having front end. I will be having basically a backend APIs. Then I will be having authentication. Then I will be having a document storage. Then I will be having basically a databases. Then I will be having a vector databases. So then I will be having a AI models. I will be having a background processing to understand user and recommend something better. Then I will be having obviously a caching system in place. Then I will be having a monitoring system in place. Then I will be having a security system in place. Okay. So basically, these are the component of the product I will be having. So again, you can see that to build any kind of a product, so it's not just only one single component, but yeah. So all of these components are required. And as a FDs, so obviously you have to understand all of these components from day one. Then only you will be able to use AI and you will be able to build things layer by layer. So it's not just about building some website and then using some vector databases, ingesting some document, because my requirement of this kind of a product is very very different. Okay, and now, so here basically we are able to business requirement. So now we are able to understand that what will be the business requirement, and then what we are supposed to basically build. So business requirement is clear to me, and what I'm supposed to build to fulfill that business requirement. So now I'm clear about that as a FDs, right? As a FDs. Now the second portion is basically a functional requirement. What is this functional requirement, right? So how user is going to use that particular platform, I mean, like how user will be able to navigate through all of these platforms. So that clarity should be there from a day zero itself. So I mean, like if I'll talk about a functional requirement, which is was my part number 2, functional requirement. So basically, functional requirement wise, what will happen? So user will come to my platform via different kind of a marketing medium, or wherever I'm going to spread the link, right? So user must be able to register and log in. That's a first requirement for any kind of a product that I'm going to build, and any product that you are using. So again, that's a basic requirement, right? Then functional requirement 2 is basically user must be able to user must be able to upload the data. So here data wise, I have simply mentioned over here, or maybe I have gathered this information from my stakeholders that, it can be a handwritten notes, it can be a PDF, it can be a PPT, it can be a video, it can be a audio. So I need a different kind of a system to process this PDF, PPT, video, audio, Excel, Word document, JSON format or TXT format. So obviously I need all of these different kind of a things. Okay, fine. So this is a functional requirement again coming from my business requirement itself. Simple. Then functional requirement 3. So now what users should be able to do. So system should extract maybe or process the entire data. So system must be able to process the data. So whatsoever data user is going to like upload, so obviously functional requirement wise, so I must be able to process it. How? Obviously I have to handle it from a text side, right? So in a functional requirement, I'm not going to write like how I will be able to handle it. I'll be able to write the navigation that, okay, fine, so user will come over here, then they will do this, then they will do this, then they will do this. Now how system is going to handle it, how things are going to happen, that is your technical requirement, by the way. So that will come into a technical side, and then your design side, your architecture side. So that I'm not supposed to capture inside my functional requirement. Then here, so functional requirement wise, basically, so system should use some AI to process the data for search or retrieval. Fine. So maybe I will try to use an embedding model for a video, audio, text, and all the other things so that I will be able to do that. Now, once this process will be done, so then functional requirement wise, user must be able to come and ask the question. User must be able to ask question. Yeah. So user can come and then user will be able to ask some sort of a questions, basically the interface which I'm going to give in mobile and in a web, basically. And once user is going to ask a question, so system must be able to understand. System must be able to understand the intent, and if required, system can ask like cross questions as well, that do you know this, do you know that, because let's say user have directly asked that explain me a quantum computation, but let's say someone like a someone so who don't even understand the basic of a quantum computation, and if you will start explaining that, so that is not going to work for them, so your user will not be happy. So here what we can do, so we can try to ask a couple of questions so that I can understand my user in a better manner. I can look into the user history, the kind of a conversation, the kind of a maturity that user is having. And based on that, so obviously I will try to help user in terms of images, in terms of audio, video, or maybe in terms of a conversational AI, right? Conversational AI interface. So that at the end of the day, like I said, and like I have mentioned, so I'm not just building this product to do a chat over here, right? So educating someone is a very different game. For example, I'm trying to talk about these topics, right? And all of you have joined a class. But if I'm not going to take maybe a multiple example, multiple scenario, multiple products, right? Multiple technology name, and then if I'm not going to explain you, if I'll just go straight forward and then read out something which will be eventually available in a book, which is available to me as well as to you, you will not be able to understand. So I have to like convince your brain that yes, you are able to connect things in a step by step manner. Then only I can say that yes, so I'm able to explain and my users are able to understand it. So you have to build this kind of a system. So that is a kind of a system. I'm not just like building a system so where you will just exchange some sort of a conversation, right? And I don't care that whether my user are able to understand something or not. No, I should care about it, and that should be my USP. That should be my first and foremost USP at any point of a time. So here, system must be able to understand the intent of the user. That's like completely fine. And then basically the AI model that we are going to use. So functional requirement 7. So AI model. So obviously I will be using like a one model and many model, because in this kind of a situation, one model is not going to work for me for each and everything, right? So basically I have to figure out models and then combinations, and then I have to do a lot of engineering over there. so that my model will be able to generate a kind of a response which I would like to give to my user. So AI model should generate output. Even AI model can do a conversation, right? So we already have that inside a UB. You can share your screen, you can do a conversation. Avni is a conversational thing. So likewise, it can do a conversation, right? And then, history must be stored. So functional requirement 8, history must be stored. So for a recommendation and for a understanding purposes of a user, right? And yes, so basically a functional requirement 9 wise. So admin must be able to control. Admin must be able to control, right? Control means, so they must be able to see the analytics, they must be able to see a costing, they must be able to see a per user consumptions, what kind of a question user have asked, and what kind of answer AI is giving, so that they must be able to validate those questions versus answer, and they will be able to enhance their product basically, because from day zero this product is not going to work as per the expectation. I mean, like, there will be a lot of tuning and tweak you will have to do it in this kind of a product, which is pretty much natural, right? Which is pretty much natural. But as soon as you will start getting a feedback, then only you will be able to, and edge cases, then only you will be able to do the enhancement, right? As simple as that. So this is something like, for example, just in last 1 hour, so our video system was down. So recently, what we have done, so we were using some third party video provider before, and I mean, like, it was costing us a lot, because education is all about video. Whenever I used to teach, I upload the video. Whenever some mentors used to teach, we upload the video. There are lots of project which is available, there are lots of courses which is available, so again video, and all the videos are available into a HD quality, right? So obviously, and again, so basically, for every video, so we try to create at least three different formats, so that it can work with all the networks, 3G, 4G, 5G, all of these networks. It is going to work even in a low bandwidth network. It must be able to play itself, right? So this is something called as transcoding. Then we try to add a security layer over there on top of this one. So previously we were using a third party vendor in terms of video, but as we have launched Euron systems, which is our SaaS product. So over there, it's not just us who is uploading the video. Our clients are uploading a video, and they have created like one clients. I was looking into the stats. So basically, they have launched hundreds of courses just in last 30 days, right? They were already like into this course market. So basically, they were selling a courses in a different segment, and so basically they have just migrated their entire systems, hundreds of courses in 30 days they have launched. And yeah, so this is the new system that we have created just last month. So we have designed that from a day zero itself, right? Believe me, like, this is a very heavy process. Video is actually, like, whenever you will design this kind of a system, right? So video system itself is a very complex system, very complex system. You add a security layer, you have to take care of network and then bandwidth, then you have to create your own player, many things. Plus you have to make it compatible with all the browsers, Mozilla, Firefox, Edge, and all the other browser, Internet Explorer. But with everything, you have to make it like a compatible with all the versions, because someone will be having a different version. Plus, even there is a hurdle you are going to face from a OS layer. So whether it's a Mac system or Linux system or basically this one. Plus, we have to even generate a transcript of that video. Plus, we have to do a AI on top of that. So generate a summary, and if you'll go into your work and learn, which we are not giving in our like a regular video things. So here, cross KT, transcript, details, many things, right? With the help of AI, all of these things we have to do it. So it's a big process. It's a big system in itself, right? It's video system functional. So, and there are companies basically. So Video Cipher is a company, Vimeo is a company. Likewise, you will be able to find out there are hundreds of companies globally who just sell you this service, video service. That's it. And we were using one of their services. But when we have launched our own SaaS platform 3 months back, Euron Systems, right? So when I was like running this Euron.1, so fine. I mean, it's just our user. But now I'm able to see that, okay, I mean, like, people are coming and launching hundreds of courses, and we are even like not charging them much. So obviously, we have to play with the optimization, with the cost. So we have started building it, I think, 2 months back. And yeah, so in a one single go itself, so it has not given us much problem. But yeah, today there was a problem for A couple of hours, and the issue was funny issues basically. So basically we were using like a, we have created a new CDN account by using a new email ID, because in our old CDN account, so yeah, payment gateway and everything is integrated. So I mean, like, somehow we have missed the payment. Team was not able to recall because we have to maintain a lot of accounts for the payment and everything. So it was down for some time. We have made a payment, things are working. I mean, like, it was not a technical issue, it was just a payment issue to that platform, and yeah, things are up basically. So I mean, this is so obviously when we try to do it, so we go through this process, right? We go through this process, we list down each and everything, that what happens on a global standard label, what kind of issues user are going to face. It should work in my Android, iOS, in any kind of application, every kind of application, in every region. And then even if someone is going to access it from USA, from this country or that country, so they should not like face latencies. Even if you are accessing our videos in a very low network, so it must work. All of these things plus AI integration on top of that, right? I'm just telling you a story, just like last hour story before joining your class. You must have seen my message. So I was just like sitting for that with my developer. So it was a very basic issue, not a tech issues, by the way. So yeah, so whenever you try to create a tech, right? So obviously you keep on doing a enhancement. And here, so functional requirement 9 wise, so admin must be able to control each and everything. So yeah, admin must be having every kind of visibilities, payment integration, whatsoever it is required. So it must be able to do it. So after basically the generating this business requirement, so we get into a functional requirement. Then after functional requirement, what we do? So we try to basically list down the non-functional requirement. What are those? Basically, this non-functional requirement. So after functional requirement, non-functional requirement. So what we try to capture over here? So we try to capture scalability. So again, this is something which is going to help you out in terms of calculating and provisioning the infrastructure at any point of a time. So basically, it should support 1,000 user or maybe a 1 to 1 million user, right? So 1,000 user or million user, because situation is not going to be same. So let's say if I'm building some product for 1,000 users, so my customer is coming and saying that for next 1 year, so I have this estimation that 1,000 user will come on my platform. So obviously I can't give them a cost, right? Like too much of cost, because they're just starting their business, and they based on them, their verdict and their basically version. So if they are not able to get 1,000 user in a month, and even in a year, I would say. So if I will start talking about scaling and then security, too much of a scaling concept, too much of CPUs, GPUs, all those things, doesn't make sense at all, right? Because to serve 1,000 users, so I don't have to provision basically a big machines and big engines to serve my customer. Obviously, I'll be working in my core engineering part. So my core engineering part is listed down above. But when it comes to infrastructure, the story is going to be very, very different with respect to 1,000 user and a forget about million user, I would say, even 2 lakh, 3 lakh users, right? So story is going to be completely different. It is not going to be same at all. So you have to take a different measure with respect to 1,000 user system, and you have to always consider a different measure with a 1 lakh, 2 lakh, or maybe 1 million, 2 million kind of a user. So 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 5 lakh and beyond means, go with the scale and then provision each and everything. Now, so scalability is one thing, and scalability always comes from a customer side, not from you, by the way. Yeah. Your responsibility is to provision it as per the customer's expectation. So on day zero, you will not go and spin something which you can serve millions of users. As simple as that. Yeah, you can try to put it on an auto scale mode. You can try to provision something in a serverless mode. That's completely fine. So that you don't have to get into it. So even if there will be a traffic spike, so all those provisioning you will be able to do it. But even to provision all of these things, there is some bare minimum requirement that this much must be up and running and available. It's not like system will automatically go from zero to everything, right? So 1,000 users serving to 10 million users serving automatically, no, it is not going to happen in that manner, basically. So your responsibility is to take care of things from a tech side. But yes, so you will decide your responsibility. Once you will get this estimation from the client, you will not assume something out like that. Oh no, I'm going to spin the infrastructure. So no assumptions over here. Whatever client says, you are just supposed to follow, and you're just supposed to work on that. One or two small or big advices you can try to give to the client, but yeah, beyond that, nothing. This is what we do in all the projects. Now, so because on a day zero, if you're going to say your client that from next month you will start getting 2 lakh, 3 lakh of bills, I mean, they will start like, they will not give you project, by the way. They will just, give a project to some college student. Availability. Availability. So obviously availability is your responsibility. So 99.9%, right? So again, nowadays, this is not a big deal if I'm using AWS, Azure, or GCP. I mean, they are taking care of things. So if their infrastructure is running, mine will be up and running. So we can consider this as a point in our documentation, just to look good in my proposal, right? But yeah. So basically, availability. So again, it's not your game, unless and until you are not managing a bare metals. So if you are managing a bare metal, then obviously it's yours, and company's networks engineer, because company must be having a network engineer if they are managing their own server, their own infrastructure. So it's their responsibility to keep system up and running. But if you are using some standard cloud platform, they themselves are giving you. So if something is not working, then you have made some mistake. AWS, Azure, and GCP have not made a mistake. And if AWS, GCP, and Azure will be down, so it will be down for the whole world or for a particular reason, not just for you. So yeah, you can happily give this kind of a commitment in case of a standard cloud platform. In case of a non-standard, in self-hosted something, then you have to take care of it, right? So maybe if cooling will go off, if water electricity will go off, if network cable will go off, I mean, like, you can't give 99.9% of availability. Now, performance wise, right? So basically, performance wise, it's your responsibility. So let's say I'm going to calculate my scalability, that thousands users are going to access. Based on that, I will even calculate that what will be my peak time. So my user will be using my platform in evening time, in morning time, in daytime, in afternoon time, on an average. Plus, you will also calculate that what is a request per second coming from my users, right? Request per second coming from my users. And to serve one single request, right? How much compute is required, or how much like capacity is basically required. So journey is going to start from here, right? And then based on that, I will try to break it down, that how much request per second I'm going to get, how much answer I will be able to give from a cache system, how much answer I have to generate, basically, how much CPU and GPU on average will be utilized, basically, what is a total customer chat time over here, right? So where customer is coming and chatting with my system on an average. So all of these calculation goes into a Excel sheet. Basically, all of these calculation goes into a Excel sheet, and then you will decide that, okay, fine. So whenever user is going to ask a question, so my system should give an answer in 2 seconds at max. My system should produce an answer in 2 seconds per two like a 2 second at max. For example, if your system is giving a video or image, practically, it's not possible. So obviously, in that case, 5 second, 10 second image and video, right? 2 second or maybe in a millisecond text you will be able to generate. But if you are generating some new videos, 2 second, even for 15 second of video, any kind of a video from any platform, practically it's not possible. It is possible, I'm not saying that practically it's not possible, but yeah, so your compute capacity must be very, very high. And that kind of a model you have to use. From Hugging Face, there are so many models where, it can generate a video from text, or from image to video, text to video, all of these things are available, or video to video. So performance, if you have decided that 2 second for per query, right, per request it should give, then you have to do estimation that for text, what should be the pipeline for video, for audio, what should be the pipeline for image visualization, 3D and expanded view. So what should be the like a pipeline that I'm supposed to create. Then only you will be able to achieve 2 second. If you are just going like sending a query and considering everything as the same, you will not be able to achieve 2 second. Practically it's not possible, right? So you have to think through it. Otherwise, system is going to crash, and the performance that you are going to commit is never going to be fulfilled. By the way, now, so performance is fine. It's a non-functional requirement. Then security. So how much secure your entire system is, right? So basically user information is encrypted or not, document that user is trying to insert or trying to upload, or any data that user is trying to upload, so that data is encrypted or not, that data will be shared or not, what kind of a agreement I'm showing to my user, right, in terms of a data privacy, and whether my system is following that agreement or not, because tomorrow anyone can come and then anyone can file a lawsuit, right? Especially if you are into a running your business into a European region. So they are very strict about this IT laws and data privacy laws, and even PII. So they're very particular about it. Even USA, right? So yeah, I mean, like in India, you will not find much. So you can play with it, but yeah, in those countries, even if a person will be able to find out a small things, you will have to pay like a heavy penalty, right? And that too, like very quick. Their court and their law system is very, very quick. So yeah, security. So here, whatsoever you are going to commit, you are supposed to fulfill. Otherwise, you should not commit. So unless and until it's not ready, if you are doing a business in those reasons. So here, privacy and encryption. So privacy doesn't mean that privacy from a hacker or privacy from some third party, but privacy from your own people as well. So obviously in your system you must be having a developers, you must be having a managers, you must be having a product manager, or you yourself, right? So you should always make sure and ensure that you, if you are committing that your data is end to end encrypted under this law, so basically it is supposed to be like a behave in that manner, so even you must not be able to access it without users authorization. So this is the kind of a system that you have to build, and again it's your responsibility, it's a tech responsibility, right? It's absolutely a tech responsibility, and this is how product has been built. So even you should not be able to see their private data, even if you are building it. But yeah, without their consent, right? Without their consent, there should be flow, there should be pipeline. You have to impose, and you have to put in between. Okay, so security is fine. Then reliability. So reliability means basically, let's say I said that so basically, uh, like this system is going to be up for 99.9%. And let's say I'm trying to use my own model, right, for image to image, image to text, text to image from Hugging Face. Because if you'll go to Hugging Face, on other day I was talking about it in one of my classes. So maybe I would like to show you something beautiful. Hugging Face over here. So if you'll go to their model section, just expand this one. So you will be able to see like image to video. How many models are available? 1,367 models. Just try to open up some of these models and you will be literally like amazed, right? The kind of a model which people are publishing, and just see the users. 2 million people are have downloaded, right? 1.33K people, 4,000 people, 274K, right? Amazing, right? Amazing. So image to video, right? Image to text, text to image, right? Again, 1 lakh images, 1 lakh 8,000 models are available. Just imagine where world is moving, right? And world is creating this back to back model. And now China is literally on a war, I would say, in terms of creating an open source model. So again, image to text, image to image model, right? So this is what I was talking about, right? And this model, these models actually you need, right? It's not like you will end up using just a chat GPT, Gemini, and all of these APIs. Not like that. It is not going to work, right? So see, Quen image edit. So character consistency. So this is the original image. From here it is able to create this one. This Ghibli style it is able to create. So I mean, like literally very amazing model you will be able to see if you will go and look into this Hugging Face. And yes, all this model you will be able to download. So see, people have inserted two images, and then it has created this cat and this girl image all together. So this is the input blur image. This is the enhanced images basically. This is again the input and this is the output. Yeah. So literally very amazing. Like this is a view and this is the front view. It has created automatically that this will be the front view of this one, right? So lot of literally maybe in a free time you should, instead of like browsing Instagram, so maybe you can come and browse these models. This is what I do, guys, by the way, right? Just to keep myself updated and what is happening inside the AI world. So literally a very amazing model you will be able to see over here, which is like working like anything, right? Working like literally anything, and in every category. So all of this category you can go and you can watch over here, because anyone who creates a new model, so they are going to upload it over here, they're going to open source it over here, right? And you can directly use it without even making a payment. So text to 3D, right? Text to 3D. There is another model which I was looking at recently, is a depth estimation model. It was very good, I would say. Even with your hair it is going to work. Even Apple have released some model, Depth Pro HF, right? Hugging face models. So I was looking into a couple of these models, and basically it can do a depth analysis as well, even for your hair and everything. Where was that model? I have to go and find again. See this kind of model from Apple, right? So I mean, like super precise model. People are basically able to create. Generally, in a autonomous vehicle, so we use a lidar system, right? So lidar system, so which try to create a mapping. I don't know whether you have seen lidar or not, but yeah. So even in a previous company, so I have created a lab. So in that lab, so we were trying to build some drone and some of the components. So basically we are using that system so that we can do a depth mapping, right? And in all the autonomous car you will be able to find out this lidar, so which is a major component, so which do like depth mapping basically, and then surrounding mapping. And based on that, so that get into the model, that get into the GPUs, and then do the computation. It try to find out where the other objects are there, and based on that it try to take their direction. So amazing models are basically available over here. And again, so as a forward development engineer, deployment engineer, whatsoever you can call, so you must be aware about all of these latest things. So here I was talking about reliability, and simply means that how reliable your technology is. If you are saying it can produce video, image, this, that, blah, blah things in 2 seconds, 1 second, whatsoever commitment that you are going to give, it should do it. If you're saying that, this is the compute capacity it is going to take, it should take it. So everything can't be done with, this open AI or Anthropic or this one. There are a lot of research, innovation, and real things you will be able to find out on other part of the world as well. But as LLMs are getting popular, so we have just, created this mindset that it's all about LLMs, OpenAI, Gemini, and Anthropic. But no, it's beyond that, right? So Asim is saying BYD autonomous Google-backed car has a lidar. Almost every car, every self-driven things is having a lidar system, because this is what it does. But yeah, let's suppose I have a depth estimation system or depth model basically. So which is the best of the best? The model which I have shown you from Apple and many other vendors, right? They are doing this research, and these are the new research, new innovation that people have done. So ultimately, I will be able to use this model in those kind of a systems as well, or maybe some other kind of a systems, right? So yes. So reliability wise, basically, so you have to make sure that what happens when AI fails. What happens when AI fails, basically? So when your existing one is not going to work, then what is the backup that you have? What is the backup plan that you have? So from where you should be able to, because business must run, right? So much goes on. Business should not stop, because if business will be stopped, so there will be a bad NPS score. Business will end up getting net promoter score, and eventually business will end up losing the client, and you will losing your client, right? So business must go on at any point of a time, and it's a crucial, right, for any businesses. So you should build in that manner. Then compliances. So compliance is also a very major factor in any basically like companies and in any product, by the way. So even with the small clients, compliance is very much important. Compliance in terms of basically data residency. So let's say I'm trying to build some product for India. and my data center is in China. So obviously it's not acceptable, right? So whenever my customer will find out, I will lose, the customer will lose trust on me, by the way. And same thing happens, right? Many European countries always enforce you for a product. So if you're trying to sell the product on those European regions, so they enforce you that all the data should reside in their country, not in outside, right? So they always make sure of it. And yes, that is an agreement that you are going to sign, a compliance agreement, or maybe you will be abide with, right? So you will not sign by default, it will be imposed on you, and your system must support it. So again, implementation wise, it's a tech, right? So compliance, obviously government is going to enforce, or their law agencies are going to enforce, but eventually whose responsibility is to implement those compliances? Developers, the FDs, the DevOps guys, the team responsible, the tech team responsibility. Some lawyer and law agency will not come and then do the implementation and set up the server in their countries and in your countries, basically. So it should be compliance, right? And then audit. So here data residency matters a lot. And even like audit log, audit logs. So even if like you are building some product and some crucial audit log you are not capturing, right? Let's say you have not kept that in a mind and you are not capturing those audit log. Tomorrow sub agency will come, and if they will try to investigate your product and they will not find those logs, it will be you who will be responsible for paying a penalty. That why you are not capturing this log, because if they are asking for the data, you must be able to give a data. Not just that, I would say. So even when basically you will go and raise fund, maybe from a VC or from any institutional investor, so they will always try to tell you that go with the DD, a diligence, basically. So we try to do a VDD, we do a TDD, we do a LDD, right? So TDD means technical due diligence, so where some third party will come into picture, and then they will be asking for something, and then based on that, they are going to evaluate each and every tech that you are going to build before funding, right? Before funding, then only fund will be released. So VDD, LDD, and then this TDD, everything must be done. So when I have raised my funding for the very first time in 2022 December, basically it was $3 million. So in terms of rupees, it was a 21 crore. So rupees was 70 at that point of a time. Now it's like 95, 96. But yeah, 22 December, it was just like around 70, 71. So yes, I have gone through all of this process. When I sold my company, so even at that point of a time, I have gone all of this process. So these things are pretty much crucial. So tech matters. So tech is not about just building so what the picture which I'm trying to show you over here, which I believe no one will tell you unless and until you yourself are not doing it and getting into those lines, that these things are matters. These things matters the most at a most crucial point, right? Because funding, acquisition, merger, right? It's a big deal, right? It's a big deal with the big money involved, and big people will be involved, with big organization will be involved, and things matters, right? So your day-to-day business matters, but even these things matters, and you have to make sure that your system must be compliant with these, all of these things. Or even your client, right? So they will go for a funding, they will go for like selling their product in a different reasons. So obviously as a FDE, right, it's your responsibility, because maybe that person will not be aware about these things, right? That this should also go into picture, right? So it's ultimately your responsibility, it's your take. You can't tomorrow come and say that you have not told me to make it compliant with these policies, so I have not done that. No, you can't go and say that, right? So and unless and until you are not aware about it, your AI will not do it automatically. None of the AI in this world is going to do those implementation in an automatic manner. So first of all, you must be aware about it, then your AI will be, and then your client will be. Now, so compliance is one part, then a cost part, right? So with transparency, you have to do a cost calculation, right? You should not give a surprise to your client or customer, saying that from next month you can start paying like a 10 lakh of AWS bills, and then like 2 3 lakh of API token bills. So you should not give that kind of a surprise to anyone in this entire world, otherwise you will end up losing a trust. So here basically you infra budget, you have to like decide and discuss, and openly you have to talk about it, right? Openly you have to talk about it, and you have to gain a trust of your client, basically. Then obviously a disaster recovery. Disaster recovery. So disaster recovery wise, retention policies, and then database backup, hourly backup, hourly snapshot, or maybe like weekly snapshot, and then delete protection. By the way, in AWS, those things are just can happen just on a click, one single click, and delete protection will be implemented. One single click, and disaster recovery will be implemented. But yeah, so you have to build a trust with your client. You have to sell your business, right? So obviously you have to mention that these things will be implemented. I'll make sure that even if the whole data center will be down, your product will be up and running, right? So let's say even if like there is a war which is going on between US, Iran, and basically Israel, and then on this side, so Ukraine and Russia. So today, I think I was looking at the news. So Ukraine has attacked on Amazon warehouse or something, right? And when there was a fight which was going on, so Iran has attacked maybe a data center, AWS data center on UAE. So yeah, so even if the entire data center will be down, so obviously I have to provision that my customer should not lose a data, or even in case of a hacking or something. So I must create those kind of a provision, and it's nothing new. And process is already defined. There are like a millions of projects running with these policies. So it's not difficult to adopt it and even to implement it. It's just an intention. So whether you are aware about it or not, if you are not aware about it, and that's the reason we used to say that I'm looking for some experienced guy, because experienced guy have worked in this kind of a project, so maybe they must be having an idea about it. So they will make sure that from day zero these things must be implemented. Same thing I can't expect from the fresher. But now this, because of AI and everything, so expectation is changing. So people are expecting that before even getting into a system, you must be aware about it, right? Which um, sadly never been discussed in any colleges or any curriculums. That's again a reality, but I believe things are changing, so even this will change. But disaster recovery wise, so how quickly system can recover, right? So this is basically comes under disaster recovery. So these are my non-functional requirement on a high level. Make sense, guys? Yeah. So Akash saying that eye opener, when we'll start posting new models like I don't know when we will start posting new models like Insta post. Start posting from tomorrow. Oh, why you are waiting for anyone? Yeah. So Saurav is saying that what should be the approach to choose the model from here? Like I mean, say decision making. So see, there is no good or bad approach, obviously, or like there is no direct approach of choosing this. So everything comes from the experience. So let's say if I'm trying to use some depth model or some text to image model, image to text, image to video kind of a model, I'll try to experiment, right? I'll try to do experiment with at least like a 50 models or 100 models on a different capacities and machine and scale, and then only I will say with my own use cases, because yours will be different. See, autonomous car is different, humanoid robot is different, basically, or maybe a toy autonomous car if I'm trying to build is different. Obviously autonomous is involved everywhere, right? Similar kind of a model or similar category of the model or hardware I will end up using, but again the final output is different. The severity of the application is different, the security of the application is different. So you have to do experimentation. There's no thumb rule. Neither me nor anyone can in this world can tell you that just go ahead and straight away just use this one. If that would have been the case, then you will never be able to find out a 1 lakh model in one single category, right? People will stop building those models, but still they are doing it, right? And every day you will be able to see like a new model people are uploading. So they are doing a research, they are building it, they are training it, basically they are testing it, and they are enhancing it, and they are doing it. So that's the reason. So as a data scientist, as an AI guy, you have to keep yourself updated. There is no point of running away from this one. You can't. Till today, even I I can't run. Otherwise, if I'm not aware about it, how I can come and discuss about it in this class? Basically, how I can help out my team, right? That like you should use this, you should use that one with certainty. Like I said, video issue, right? The last hour issue that we have faced, it was not a tech issue at all. And since then, since like a day we have launched our video things, literally we are not having. We have launched a super solid system with a zero bug in tech side. So that's come from the experience. I mean, like if you would have asked me to build the same system maybe 2 3 year back, I would not have built that kind of a system maybe 2 3 year back, or maybe 5 or 10 year back, right? So more you involve, more you evolve. Simple. That's a philosophy, right? That this is how things works in a human life. Yeah. So yeah, that guys. So yeah. So this is basically my non-functional requirement. So hope you are able to understand the story. And same story, you have to talk about it in your interview, or when you are sending a proposal to your client, a freelancing client or anyone, right? Same thing you should discuss on YouTube as well. So show your worth, that you are worthy than anyone else, because this is a big differentiator. See, everyone will come and say that I will use Claude Cursor, all these things, blah, blah, and I'll build the product. And then what people do, people try to create like 3 pager, 4 pager web pages with certain clicks. Not a product. But when you showcase this thought process, see, people are going to pay you not to use a AI, basically, this thought process. Because if you have this thought process, then only you will be able to use AI in a better manner. And we have just started with the thought process. I mean, like, this is just a starter, basically. At least for me, this is just a starter. You will see a lot of things in like 6 months of time. 6 months means like next 4 months of time. You will see a lot of things. So I'll try to transfer my experience into you. Let's see how much you can take. So yeah. So people are going to pay you for the thought process, right? So try to build that thought process and try to showcase those thought process. Then only you will be having authority, right? So just do it. Simple. So find this non-functional requirement. Then coming to the capacity estimation. Yeah, the next part is estimating a capacity. So here, capacity estimation wise, I told you points over there, right? This scalability point. So where I have said that, 1,000 user or million user, and there is a huge difference between 1,000 versus million user. You can't do like this comparison even, right? That on 1,000 I will be using this infra, and then on 1 million just into this. No, that philosophy, that mathematics never works, believe me, on infra side at least, right? In any real project, it is not going to work in that particular manner. So basically, is capacity planning wise, estimation wise, which is a fourth one, capacity. And I believe in your class I have already talked about it, couple of cases, right guys? Some of you have also created a video, so I like those videos created by a couple of you. Yeah, it was like a amazing video that you guys have explained, and the way you have explained basically some of those like platforms capacity planning. Let's try to revise in a small manner. That was very detailed, that was just about the capacity planning, but here I'm talking about the whole story, right? Whole product story basically. And to get what kind of outcome? To provision the infrastructure, right? Finally, I have to, outcome wise, I have to provision my infrastructure. So Terraform, let's say I have to use, which I will be using tomorrow, right? First I'll teach you, and then not tomorrow, so next week, basically. So capacity planning. Okay. So here, first of all, capacity planning wise, you have to find out how many registered users are there. Registered users are there, or your client is expecting. So they are saying that I'm expecting like 1 lakh user, right? 100K user I'm expecting. Then you are going to ask a DAO, daily active user, daily active user. So they will say that, daily active user, I'm expecting that 10,000, right? 10,000. So never estimate these things, at least in your client project, by yourself, right? Always leave this up to client, because tomorrow they should not come and say that, your system is crashing. You should claim simply that this is a requirement you have given to me, and I can prove you by sending a artificial load on a system. Because see, this happens. I'll tell you from my experience once again that, a client is basically a kind of a person, or client sometimes is not a person, I would say it's a company, right? And they will be having their team, and obviously even over there are humans. This side also there are humans, right? Those who are implementing and those who are giving requirement, both sides there is a human. Now in many projects I have seen that uh, we have built the system, and yeah, so we have built the system as per the scope of the system, which we have decided on a day zero, which client have signed off. And then let's say they are expecting less user, they are expecting more user, they are expecting less price, more price, all of these things. Then tomorrow client will come and start saying that, start blaming that because of you I'm losing this much of money, that much of money, and then there will be a fight, there will be unnecessary, and politics happens. And that's very common, again, very common, right? If you have not secured yourself. So simple, whenever you are working, even as a freelancer, right? So when you are trying to work, ask this input from the client, that how many user you are expecting, right? Even if clients say I don't know, still tell them, give me some number, right? Give me 1,000 number at least, like whatsoever number. But this number should come from a client, not from you. It's their business, not your business. You are enabler. You are basically a techie guy, right? You are building that system, but ultimately, the system that you are provisioning, you should provision based on the client estimation. So, and always take this clear estimation. And even tomorrow, right? Let's say client is coming to me and they are claiming that, you said that it will work for 1 lakh user, this one, 10,000 daily active user. Not an issue at all. So I can prove it. I can prove it in a second by sending artificial load. I don't have to wait for 10,000 user to be happen on clients like a system. I can simply like, ask client to join a meeting or maybe sit in front of my screen, and then I'll start sending the artificial load. I'll show them real time that okay, fine, this is the per second request, this is the response time, latency time, everything I will be able to prove it artificially. So I don't have to wait for the user or maybe a real load, right? Real load. This is how capacity or load testing happens, right? And this is nothing new again. For every product we do it. So, but yeah, as a freelancer, as you will be an individual, or as a FDs, as you will be an individual, or maybe you will be with 1 or 2 person team, 2 3 people. So this kind of a situation will be a very real situation in many of your cases. So please be ready for that, right? And again, so just to avoid mitigate those situation, you should take this input from the client, not from your side. Now, peak concurrent user, peak concurrent user. So let's say peak concurrent user will be like 10% of this DAO. 1,000, I'm saying, right? AI request per second. So it's not like, user is coming, then they will just keep on using my AI system. They will log in, they will explore, browse. For example, Euron itself, right? So we are able to see that which product has been used by how many people, what is the peak concurrent, what is the peak number of user we are getting, and then how many people are using which product, whether it's Avni or Yuri or Resume or maybe like a test prep system, whatsoever that we have, right? So we keep on monitoring all of this system. So AI request per second, let's say client is saying, okay, so we are going to estimate that, okay, fine, it's going to be 20 seconds, right? So average data upload, right? So maybe let's say I'm saying that, average data upload will be like 100,000 MB, let's say, yeah, on an average. Document upload, video upload, audio upload, right? Average token request, all of these things, average token request. So let's say, like 2000 input plus 500 output. Now here you will be able to see that this average token request, average data upload, even client will not be aware about it. They're building this product for the very first time. So I mean, like first couple of things I will try to take from the client. Then I will do some sort of a research that if there are the competitors, so how many people are chatting, how many people they have out of percentage wise. Always I will try to consider it in a terms of percentage, that if they have 1 lakh user or maybe they have 10 million user, so what is the percentage of people who are using this, that estimation, that investigation, nowadays easily I will be able to do it over GPT, Gemini, or any cloud models, right? So they have all the information, so they will be able to give you fair understanding and idea, even average token consumptions. So that you are supposed to give. Obviously client will not be like giving you those things. So client will be giving you couple of things, the above one, only above one. So do not expect like the below things from the client. So this is going to be my capacity, like this is the input, by the way, for a capacity planning. Now based on this particular input, what you are going to do, so you are going to estimate the API traffic, you are going to estimate database read and write, storage growth, then network bandwidth, then embedding workload, then GPU inference demand, Then you will be like a queue throughput, and then cache requirement. So these are basically a calculation that you will end up doing, right? These are the calculation estimated wise based on this product that you are building. So you will end up doing that. What will be the API traffic? What will be my database on average read and write operation, storage growth? If people are uploading their data and we are saving their meta information, we are saving their log information, and many more things, right? So obviously my storage is going to grow even in terms of a DB or maybe in terms of a file system. So obviously I have to estimate all of these things. Network bandwidth, so obviously communication is going to happen, so real time and maybe in a batch, mini batches. So obviously network bandwidth, embedding workload, so every document I'm trying to embed it and then I'm trying to send it inside my embedding vector system, so I have to do that estimation as well. GPU inferencing, right? So let's say I'm using a variety of model, one model for image to text, text to image, image to video, video to video, all of these models, right? I'm trying to use, for example, I have shown you Hugging Face just now. So if I'm trying to use it from there, so you know what will be my GPU inferences, so what is the capacity that I need? So obviously all of these things, queue throughput, cache requirement, all of these things you are going to estimate. So this is going to help you out in terms of doing a capacity planning. So capacity planning is going to help you out in terms of deciding the number of CPU container, number of CPU containers, number and type of GPU, number and type of GPU. So GPU again comes with a variety of type, H100, H200, like RTX 4090, the one which I'm using, even below this. So there are so many different version, and obviously every time you don't need like a H100, 200, or A100 kind of a GPUs. Even sometime 2 3 RTX 4090 is going to work for you, right? So why to use those H100, 200 just because it looks fancy? So you should not, like, because if like you're going to use H100, 200, proportionally you will get a cost, means your client will get a cost. So obviously your responsibility is to optimize that as well. Blindly just do not go and like use this H100 because I told you and I have shown you in a class that H100, so now everyone knows H100, so what I will do, I'll use H100. No, it should not go in that manner. Estimation, and then based on that, yeah, so you have to basically decide that which GPU I'm supposed to use. Okay, so GPU is fine. Number, type of the GPUs, then database size. So what is the size of the database I'm supposed to perform? Just a second, guys. I'm checking something. Okay, everyone. So number of type of GPUs, obviously based on this, I will be able to decide. And along with that, so obviously I will be able to decide a database size, database size, storage requirement, Anyhow, S3 is a serverless. So basically, if you are using S3, so as you grow, they are going to charge. Very, very simple. So a storage requirement, and then queuing capacity, queue capacity, auto scaling rule, right? So when I have to go for the scale, so on 60%, on 70% consumptions of the resources, so I should like spin the new machine. So you can try to decide all of these things based on that. Then once this part is done, right? Once this capacity planning is done, then my point number five will come into picture. So high level architecture. So whenever you are trying to creating a proposal for the client, so always try to basically talk about a high level architecture. So what is that high level architecture, by the way? How I will be able to create it? So simple, high level architecture wise. So let's say user is hitting your system with web or maybe with a mobile, right? While interface. So obviously traffic will come on route 53, which is going to maintain your DNS. Route 53, which is going to basically maintain your DNS. Route 53 is a service from AWS, if you don't know. And then it will be added through a cloud platform, a cloud front basically. So which is my, it's like a CDN, content delivery network, cloud. So there are so many CDN providers and they try to maintain a small servers across the world, right? And then once it will come over here, so it will go through ALB, application load balancer, right? So ALB, and ALB is going to decide that where I have to send a traffic. So let's say I'm trying to maintain maybe my cluster with the help of Kubernetes, or I'm trying to maintain and manage just a Docker container, right, by using a ECR ECS kind of a services. So it is going to ALB is going to decide that okay, so I should send traffic on this cluster. This is one cluster, again multiple machines managed by Kubernetes, and let's say these are the CPU based machines I have configured. And on this side, on other side, so I have again a multiple machines, right, managed by Kubernetes layer, which we have already discussed. So GPU in this place, and this is my CPU and this is my GPU basically machines configuration. And here, so it will decide that whether I should send here, or I should use a mix of it. And then inside that, so it's all Kubernetes. So now Kubernetes will decide that which worker I'm supposed to use, because inside this entire cluster, as we have studied inside a Kubernetes, so there will be a control panel and there will be a worker node, right? So based on that architecture internally, it will be taking a decision, okay, that which machine is going to, or which worker is going to basically give me the final output for this particular use cases. So CPU service wise, if I have to list down, so maybe I can list down a couple of services. So whenever people will try to call some of this fast API that I have created, API, fast API, for maybe like a lightweight processes, or maybe when people will come for a authentication, maybe when we have to talk about a user management services, right? Or maybe a simple chat API call. So on payment API. So I'll be sending all of this traffic where I will be sending those traffic on a CPU cluster. Very, very simple. GPU cluster wise, GPU services will be, so let's say I'm like hosting my own LLM, right? If I'm like hosting my own embedding model. Let's say if I'm trying to use some text to speech, speech to text, video to video, image to video, right? All of these models basically on my own. Re-ranking model. So all of these models will be good. So some of these model, or not some, I would say most of this model will work even on CPUs. But again, GPU will give you a fast response. So latency is going to be reduced over there. So obviously, model response wise, I should always, and I always suggest people that go with the GPUs, not H100, even the lower one. But yeah, go with the GPU so that you will be able to get the better response. I think yesterday, in which class? Hmm. In my this one, the AI generalist class, right? So I was showing them a practical example of a GPU versus like a CPU. So I have shown them a very clear differences that what is the number of token it is yielding in GPUs and what is the number of token it is yielding in CPUs for the same case, for the exact same case, same model. And I have tested that in my system basically where I have a 4090 as a GPU, and then CPU wise I have a 32 core, right? And I have shown them each and everything in a practical manner that this is what happens when I'm sending the same request on CPU and GPUs. So inferencing time, number of token, so everything is going to change. LLM ops class I have shown. Okay, maybe. Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah. LLM ops, right? Uh, yes, I think LLM ops. Yes. So here, this is how you will try to redirect the load in from one system to the another system. Now, so once this is done, right? Once this particular part is done on this architecture, so then below that, right? So compute wise, it's fine. Then below the compute, there will be another layer which will come into picture. So here your DB will come into picture. So your like RDS, let's say from AWS, right? Inside that Postgres or maybe like a PG vector database for a vector search, right? And maybe a Elastic cache for basically a Redis, right? Managed service by AWS, you can try to use, or maybe you can try to use a S3 for documentation and all those things. So below that, all of these services are going to exist. Now below that, right? So below that, basically, so there will be a monitoring services. You are going to configure. So monitoring wise, you can try to use a CloudWatch. So inside that, you will be able to get an alert, you will be able to get a watch, you will be able to get something which is going to collect the entire log in terms of an infra log, in terms of your application log, both. So everything you will be able to automate it with the help of this one. So basically CloudWatch, CloudTrail, Cloud Alert, all of these things, you will be able to use it in a managed manner. Then security wise, right? So security wise. So obviously identity and access management, right? Secret manager you are supposed to use. WAF you can try to use, or maybe KMS you can try to use just to manage, maintain key and security. Deployment wise, so I can go ahead with basically EKS deployment if I'm doing a Kubernetes based deployment, right? So for example, if I have to maintain, manage multiple CPUs, multiple GPUs, multiple resources basically on both the side. And again, in this like a manner. So obviously I'll prefer to go ahead with the Kubernetes services because that will be better. So maybe I can try to use a EKS kind of a service, which is a managed services by AWS. So likewise, there is AKS by Azure, there is a GKS by Google. So every provider is going to give you a managed services, and obviously they're going to charge you a small amount, right, on a like a consumption basis or pay per use basis. As we all understand Kubernetes, so I can do my own setup as well. So I can try to use a mini cube distribution, and then with the help of that, I will be able to do my own setup of Kubernetes as well. And that is also going to work in a similar manner, right? So obviously, I will not be able to get those beautiful like a UI interface. But yeah, I mean, if I'm using AI, I can create it. So you can do some sort of a math over there in terms of a cost, because ultimately it's the only thing which matters for me is a machine, right? I'm looking for a machine, that's it. Added services I can try to build it on top of those machines. So as simple as that, and I will be able to manage it. This is how things are now. Things basically like became easy. Previously, yes, it was helpful, but now I can write one Terraform file and then it will be able to configure and provision each and everything. And that too, with the help of AI, I can write it. So even very complex things, I can try to maintain and manage with ease. Not a big deal at all, if I understand, right? If I understand things. So these are the architecture, guys, you are supposed to propose, right, to your client. So this is basically a very, very high level. Again, you are going to break it down in a very, very low level, communication wise, API wise, right? All of this provisioning wise, you can try to break it down. So that's layer number 5, by the way, right? And then basically you have to understand the another next point. The next point says that services and technology selection. So services and technology selection, obviously, like which service is going to run on, let's say, a CPU, which service is going to run on GPU. So again, it you should list down in a very clear manner. For example, user authentication, right? Just a simple API processing, or maybe some a simple business logic, or input validation, database queries. All of these should use my CPU. I should not send a traffic via my GPU, because I can do it, right? Because it's a compute machine, so I can do that. But ideally, I should not do that, right? File metadata management, authorization, request routing, queue processing, right? So PDF text extraction. So all of these processes should run on my CPU, because if I'm going to use a GPU for all of these processes, unnecessary, I will end up underutilizing my GPUs, which is eventually going to give me a cost. So and so this is how I can try to decide that which service I'm supposed to use from where. So whether I should use a ECS Fargate, I should use ECS on EC2, I should use a EKS, I should use a Lambda, or I should use just bare EC2 instances and configure everything on my own, because all of these things will be available to all of us, right, on AWS, Azure, and GCP. So here, if I have to talk about services and resource allocations, or like a provisioning, resource, so I have to basically decide, and I have to take a decision that which one should go on CPU and which workload should go on a GPU. So GPU workload wise, obviously, if I'm doing a fine tuning of the model, if I'm trying to retrain or tweak my model, if I'm doing a LLM inferencing, so again, LLM wise, two things: API based, and then my self hosting. Because I don't know whether you have followed recently the open source model world or not, right? But yeah, so now it is becoming very very big, by the way. So if you'll go to Olama, or maybe a Hugging Face itself, and let's talk just about LLM models, right? Just LLM models. So you will be able to find out that the GLM 5.2, a Kimi K3, which has been launched, and the recent model which is coming in all the categories, and just see their comparison with the Anthropic, right? Anthropic Opus 4.85, or maybe even beyond that. So you will be able to see that in most of these cases, these Chinese open source models are performing very good, right? Literally very very good. Their performance is. So Kimi K3 again very good, and these models are also giving you a complete ecosystem like a OpenAI, or these models are also giving you a complete system like a Anthropic Claude, right? For example, Claude provides you a design, Claude provides you a work, Claude provides you co-work basically. Claude provides you agentic coding. By the way, Claude provides you a simple chat interface. All of these things, if you'll go and observe in, let's say, GLM, right? 5. So ZAI, it's from ZAI, right? Try ZAI. So you will be able to see that everything is there. Their API is there. Their entire ecosystem is there. They're also giving you a 3D model design, and it's amazing, right? It's literally very very amazing and very impressive, and it's nowhere, I would say, a lesser than other provider. And some time, right, you will go and check, and you will see that it's actually better than some of the frontier USA model provider. I mean, like, there are only now two, three. I mean, like, competition is gone. So we have seen, many models. People are building many models even in USA and European region. But I believe now everything is very clear in 2026 July, August. Now it's August, right? 3rd August, when we are talking about this. So now things are pretty much clear. I mean, like, a lot of things are out of discussions now, and we are very clear that which model is going to do what, right? uh, Even Chinese model wise, right? Chinese model, China is like, in literally, like, they are doing a very different label. I mean, like, I don't think that any country is playing on that label, right? So they are providing you a paid, even paid wise, so lesser payment you have to give as compared to Claude and OpenAI, right? In terms of a token, as well as in terms of their chat users. So instead of giving like a $20, maybe just in $10, $14, you will be able to use the best of best. And again, just wait for 2 months. I mean, like, they are some, in some of the cases, they are like, just they are less by the fraction of margin, in 2 months they will be able to top that as well if they're able to reach on this particular place. So like literally Chinese model are doing good. If you have a thought that or your client will be having a thought that my data is going to a Chinese server, not an issue at all. So the best part is they have also open sourced their weight. So again, you can try to host it in your system, and then you can serve your entire customer client, your entire employees, and freely they will be able to use that super capacity of a model. So model game is literally like it has changed. The best and best frontier model game has literally changed, and now all thanks goes to China, because whatsoever best model is available in USA, it's locked. Wait is not opened at all, so you can't use it. I mean, like, you are forced to pay for the API, forced to pay for their chat interface, forced to pay for their workload and everything, right? You are forced to basically pay for that. But these Chinese people, they are giving you all the options. So if you would like to host it, host it. If you don't want to host it, come and pay me, and that to less amount, I'll give you the similar kind of a services. So GLM, yeah, they are doing the same thing. And if you'll go and check their, agent, their MCPs, everything is there. I mean, like, it's not like they're not giving anything. They're giving literally everything, and everything to all of you, right? Again, same thing goes with the Kimi K3. It's very amazing one, right? And now even this people, right? So like Cursor or something. So they are also started providing you that, by the way. So Kimi.com basically. Yeah. So see, they're giving you everything, right? So Kimi work is there, Kimi code is there, Kimi claw is also there, right? Based on the open claw, where you can automate all of your work, by the way. So yeah, I mean, like, what I'm trying to show you is that they are now not less, and there is a fair comparison you will be able to do in terms of a pricing, right? And I mean, they're just like 2 months behind, you can say, or 1 month behind. Maybe in next release they will be able to give you something which is available now. They're already giving you something which was available 1 month before, right? So yeah, the best of best is already available, and so that you can go and you can try to like do any kind of your work by using these models. And these wars is literally getting so much intense, right? So much intense, because now back to back people have started releasing this open source model, whether it's a GLM series from JDI, from Kimi series, or whether it's a Gema Quen series also. So yeah, they're literally playing on a very different label. Whatsoever model that we have seen from a European and US world, so they have just open sourced their worst of worst model, but not the best one, including OpenAI, if I'll talk about, right? So 20B and 200B model that they have launched, and that's I think, which I remember, that's a only last open source model which was available to the world, right? But yeah, so Chinese people are like, this breaking the and they're just changing the rules, by the way, right? So here you can try to now do inferencing on your own GPU, whether it's a LLM inferencing, fine tuning, model training. And I believe as time will progress, so you will be able to get a very lightweighted model. This is also there, but yeah, lightweighted model with the same capacity, which you will be able to run with the less compute, right? Less compute. So what I'm able to see now is that going forward in next 5 to 6 months of time, there will be many people who will be hosting their own models, which is practically not possible now, even if models are open sourced. But yeah, this is where I believe the world is moving. So your intelligence, many people, right? Many people, many clients and customers. So those who have a security concern or this data breach concern or anything, they will be able to use the model in their own premises, with their own hardwares and infra, and they will be able to do that. So we are actually moving, whether it's an image generation model, video processing model, any model, means literally any model, right? Again, on a Hugging Face, in one single category itself, millions and millions of models are available. So here, service and resource wise, you have to like plan that what should run on CPU and what should run on a GPU, right? So I think I have given you a fair understanding on that particular part as well. A separate CPU and GPU infrastructure you have to provision. So infrastructure, you have to provision. Now, once you will reach on this label, right? Once you will reach on this label, then once you have all the estimation, then you will start talking about this infrastructure as a code. So first of all, you should understand what is this, how this works, how I can write that YAML file or infra file basically. So which is going to help me out, and then take a help of AI part number one. Or there are already so many pre-built templates are available, right? So you just have to use it, you just have to tweak it, or maybe just create a best of best template, so that as per the need you can just try to fill it as a parameter, just like coding, right? It just works in a similar manner. So you will give all those inputs, and the entire file will be ready, which I'm going to show you tomorrow itself, right? You will be amazed if you are not aware about this EAC and Terraform, that how it is going to spin everything in a like a automatically. But yes, code you have to write and you have to decide. Then inside the EAC itself, so I'm going to configure this second step, a CI/CD. So again, I can decide so what kind of a deployment I will be looking for, a Canary deployment, or maybe a blue green deployment, just a Kubernetes based deployment, or maybe a Docker based deployment. Whatsoever I will decide, yes, I will write it as a code, and then code is going to do the job for me. Above all, there will be some common things. For example, there will be like a subnet, there will be a masking, there will be a VPCs, right? There will be a routing table. So these things are technically common things, right? Doesn't matter what and where you are going to provision the infrastructure, these layers will come by default. Inbound traffic, outbound traffic, basically your security groups, basically rules inside your security groups, who is allowed, who is not allowed, which port will be open, how one system is going to communicate with other system, one services will be able to communicate with other services, on which IP address, which port number. Everything we try to decide inside this particular file, which is our bare minimum things, because obviously if there are so many systems, so many like technology and components is required in this one. So obviously everyone has to talk to each and everyone. So again, talk is going to happen based on IP address and a system IP address, and again it's rules, inbound outbound rules, plus a particular port number, right? Because eventually everything will be running in one small boxes, basically. So that I'm going to write it down inside this basically like a EAC, and then inside this one itself, I'll be writing like a monitoring tools and scaling tools as well. And once everything will be up and running, and my customer will end up, or customer will start using all of these things, I will try to monitor. Right, I'll try to monitor. I'll try to keep this entire product under my supervision, and then I will plan the optimization. Optimization you should not plan before. I mean, like you should create initially as optimized process as possible. But the real optimization, believe me, happens once your product is live and real user will start using it, right? So you can't like estimate everything from before releasing it. Yes, the best possible realistic estimation, always we try to do it so that my product should not crash. And we always try to take a plus, basically plus 10%, 20% of delta, not minus, like in terms of utilization of my resources. But the real optimization happens. Because last month, I think we have done a lot of optimization even on our Euron systems and Euron, both SaaS product and this LMS product. And yeah, so because of that, we were able to, this month, I think we are able to save multiple lakhs basically just on infrastructure, right? So every month we keep on doing it. So some month something will go up because we have launched a new product and we are still experimenting with that. So next month I will pay the more bills. Then another month we'll try to optimize it based on the logs and based on the things that we are going to capture. So this is how optimization is going to work eventually. So inside a hypercare, right? In a hypercare, we try to always keep a product. Inside a maintenance, we try to keep a product. So where we'll keep on doing a feature enhancement and optimization. So that's life cycle, guys, for infra planning. Hope all of you are able to understand. Yes. So question for me, can you talk more about a queue capacity? So queue is like a cache, I would say, a quick system. So where you can go and you can try to access something. So queue planning happens based on basically maybe a percentage of information which I'm going to store, percentage of conversation on an individual level, on an overall level. So again, there are different kind of a queuing that we can try to implement. So on an org level or on a product level, or I can say on an individual user level. Queuing, right? Queue capacity. Oh, sorry, I was talking about catching. My bad. Queue. So queue means I'm in queue. So basically, like how much request I can serve immediately, and then how much I should put it inside the queue based on the traffic. So let's say if I'm saying that my latency should not be more than 5 seconds. And let's say to process one request, I take 2 seconds. So now immediate, and my system can process like 100 requests per second. So 5 seconds is my commitment. In 2 seconds, I'm processing it, and 100 requests per second it is coming. 100 requests is per second is coming, but my system capacity is 10 requests per second. So obviously only 10 requests I can, and within my commitment, so max to max 25 requests I will be able to commit. So basically, I will try to keep all the requests beyond that inside a queue with a commitment that all of this will be processed within a 5 second. So that's a queue capacity planning. So question, guys, anyone? Yep, guys. Hope all of you are able to get a clear idea before provisioning the infrastructure, what and all things you should estimate, and it should come in your mind. Can you also walk through a couple of Terraform file? Not only we are going to walk through a Terraform file, we'll see the Terraform file. We'll try to create those Terraform file. So there will be no walking through it. Tomorrow I'm going to teach you Terraform, and then next week, so we will be creating a Terraform for a multiple different products. So I will come up with the particular like a Excel sheet, so where all the numbers will be there for a capacity planning plus all the services, and then accordingly we'll try to create a Terraform, so that I will give you that as a template, so that let's say if you're working for your client or maybe for yourself or anyone, just use that file as a template on Azure, AWS, GCP for like variety of the product, and do it. So I'll make your life easy, so that in a life you won't have to go and create those files like from a scratch. That I'll do next week. Tomorrow I'll just teach you the Terraform from the scratch. So we'll write code line by line, so that you will be able to understand how Terraform file is being created, what is the variable, what are the services, all those things we try to provision. Fine, everyone? Yeah. So don't worry, that's my responsibility. I'll give you enough Terraform templates for a different product that you won't have to go and create. But yes, you have to keep all these things in a mind. Uh, Blindly, you should not use my Terraform templates. I mean, like, you have to do some modification as per the product in which you are going to work. So I'm not going to say that you will just copy and paste my Terraform template and use it. But yes, so this one. Fine. Thanks. Had a client requirement, so asked. Just wait for next week then. Yeah, next week I'll give you. I'm understanding how infra should be created. Great. Every day you come with a different approach. Thank you. I hope you're liking it. It's a positive feedback. Right. Also, can we assign user role based access via Terraform? Yeah. So basically, see the user that you are trying to create, right? So basically, we try to give those user role not inside Terraform. So basically, GitHub YCD basically we can try to use, or inside a AWS CLI. So we are going to give our own IAM credentials, IAM access and secrets both, so that it will not be shared inside any of these file. It will not be provisioned inside a Terraform. I can simply go and say that, okay, fine, so create this user, and for this user, so try to make it a part of this user group, and this user group will be having this kind of permission. So yes, that can be done. But to do that, at least you must be having an admin user with full access of all the platform, because someone has to create, right? Either you or your behalf of like that Terraform will be able to create. So yes, that can be done. Means with the help of Terraform, literally you can access and manage every services without any guess, I would say. Excited for the session. Thanks for all this session. Thank you. Are we going to continue this project to implement as well and extend this for RAG and AI agent development understanding? Yes, obviously. That's a whole idea, right? Also, can we assign? I think I have given the answer. The different approach, given the answer. Fine. I have given all the answers. So, fine, guys. Yeah, you can raise your hand. I think nowadays people are just asking question in chat. I'm fine with both, but yeah, you should know that you have all the rights to raise your hand and ask a question. Just a reminder. Some completely changed my mind. Do we have related tasks to put this in a practice? Have some tasks are related to a system design. Do we have related tasks to put this into a practice? Some tasks are related to a system design. I'll give you that as a task, and you have to create the YouTube video. I'll be looking for an output in terms of YouTube video. So by tomorrow, like evening, you will be able to see a new task inside your dashboard. Okay, so Vires have raised his hand. Yeah. And like guys, like I told you guys, so if you are interested to create a content means not like those like entertainment content, but actual one that we try to use to serve to our like a user like you and everyone. So yes, there is a paid opportunity which is available, but my team is going to do a evaluation. Maybe they are going to ask you to take some sort of a free sessions, and then they can go ahead with that. So I think Raj is doing it, Bhavab is doing it, couple of more people are doing it from your batch, which I remember. Right, you can also do it. Yeah. So they have just started. I mean, like yesterday I have made an announcement, so it's not a very old information. It's a new one. Yeah, Vires, I think you have raised your hand. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi,
Use
sir.
your right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is question is not related to this session, but I have one requirement in the office.
Okay.
Basically, what they want is, we have they have some contracts data, PDFs,
Mm-hmm.
files, PDFs, or some Word document. We have to
Okay.
read those documents and then create a kind of a database. The requirement is not that clear yet, but only thing is what they have told is contract files are there. We have to read
Hmm.
and then put it in a tabular format so that business can take a decision. Like for example, if a contract is ending, contract lease is getting over, how much is being
So
paid
you
or
have
owed.
to like you have to basically insert those document where like in a vector DB
Maybe vector DB or in
because
BigQuery.
you said that, yeah, so someone would like to understand that when contract is ending, when this is happening, that is happening. So yeah,
Yes.
continue, then I'll tell you about the solution.
Yeah, the requirement is that only, sir. Right now, it just now
Mhm.
it started, so we have to
Okay.
suggest
Okay.
them like what is the approach that we are going to
Simple.
use.
Go ahead with RAG approach, right? For this kind of a requirement, the only approach is not only approach, I would say. One of the approach is basically RAG approach. So whenever someone is going to upload the document, so it is going to convert those document into a vector, and then it is going to store that as an embedding inside a vector DB, Pinecone, Baviate, or maybe FAS, SS, or maybe Chroma DB or anywhere, right? Or PG vector also. Mostly you must be
Yeah.
using a Postgres. So Postgres is providing you vector DB as well. So store it and then just give one simple interface to a client or to your team member. So where they can come and they can simply chat. It will go and retrieve all the information, and then with the help of LLM, it is going to polish that information and show it to the client. Plus, it can also showcase a meta information that from which page, which block, which particular paragraph, or from which document. Let's say you are processing hundreds of document contract documents, so from which document I'm giving you this information, so that client can go and even do a vetting of those basically like information that you are trying to extract, or your RAG system is able to extract. So that's going to be a solution. So just look into one of my RAG classes, or maybe this generative AI 2.0 or 1.0. You will be able to get ready-made solution. So such solution is already available. We have done already this kind of project.
Okay, okay. Sure, sir. I'll
Yes.
check that if I.
But yeah, that is the approach basically. RAG approach. Simple.
Okay. I
Yeah.
think similar last week we did the same project
Ah,
also, right?
exactly. Yes. Not the same.
Small
I mean,
project.
like it was RAG plus a graph, basically. So we have
Yeah.
combined two things. But yes, even you can take a reference of that one. Yeah, that will work. Take a reference of that.
Okay.
That will
Sure,
also
sir.
work. Same project. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks. Yes, Akash, go ahead.
So last week, sir, I asked about like using graph database and vector database. So we concluded that we can go with vector DB, but the challenge I'm facing on the same project is like my PDF is like very complex. It is having sections, and in each sections like there are images and
Which
tables of
model, which
multiple
embedding
tables.
model you are using? How you are parsing the PDF and which model you are using for converting that into a vector? And
So
what you are
embedding model, as you said, like Gemini Pro 2, so same I'm using, but on the parsing or creating the chunk, I'm struggling because
No, no,
it's
no.
not
See,
multiple
see. Do
tables.
one thing. So
Mhm.
whenever you are, yeah, I know, I get the problem, right? See, what happens? So basically, when you try to read everything as a simple like a PyPDF reader and as a text, it is not going to work. So what you are supposed to do? So you are supposed to segregate a image in a separate way, and then image meta information, the fig information, basically in a separate manner, associated with the images table in a different manner. Basically, if there is some equation in a different manner, and if there is a text in different manner. So first of all, you have to do a data segregation at a reading label itself. So when you're trying to read the data, right? It's not like, you can just read a PDF as a raw file and where you have images and all these things. So segregate. So first work on that layer. Once you will be able to segregate, then your embedding model will come into picture, and then image to embedding, text to embedding, table to embedding, and then meta information association, and then storage will come into picture. Make sense? If you're going to make a mistake in this first level of segregation, image, text, video, audio, and this is checking is not going to work at all. Believe me, that's a
Okay,
very common,
okay.
that's a very common problem basically, and every a newcomer users to face, right? And then they
Sir,
realize that no, I should do a segregation. So segregate first. First, see in a folder that whether you are able to get a segregated data or not, and how accurate your segregated data is. So first work on that part. Then
mhm.
then embedding model. Before that, no embedding model, no Gemini, no OpenAI, small text embedding
So,
model
sir,
or
while
something.
segregating, should I also mention in the metadata like the headings and subheadings in which that
Obviously, yeah,
heading
meta
is?
information is important, man. Meta information
Mhm.
like page information, then inside, like below the figure. So if there is a description, right? So you have to scan that area and crop that particular part. You have to store that as well, right? Page number, like paragraphs, and then like a chapters, basically, if that is available, maybe author information is available. Everything you should like store as a meta information, because meta information is a very, very big thing when it comes to a retrieval. So at
Mhm.
the time of storage itself, you have to obviously work with the meta information. Otherwise, you will not end up building a best RAG system.
And for tables, sir, you said like that also we should convert to vectors. So should we also create a relational database out of those table? Like,
No, relational is not required.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, it's fine. It will be able
And
to
there
work.
are some drawings also, sir, and that is PLC related drawings, very complex. So,
That's also it is going to work. I mean, like, see, in a chat, people are going to ask and talk about that particular design or diagram, right? OpenAI or maybe a Claude or Anthropic, anyone can understand any designs which is available inside a particular image. So your responsibility should be to do a proper segregation in a first place, because anyhow, when you will try to retrieve the design, so you will be retrieving based on the meta information and basically matching of the embedding, right? So let's suppose I'm able to retrieve it, and then I'll be sending my design or those meta along with that to my LLMs. LLM can understand those design, and if someone is looking for explanation of that design, it will be able to do it. So it's not your
I
responsibility.
understood, sir. So if it
Yeah.
is in the PDF, then that can be done by that way. But
Huh,
there are
exactly.
a couple of design drawings only. So it's not a
Hmm.
part of PDF, it's standalone. And there are a couple of information mentioned
Convert
in those
convert that
drawings.
convert that into maybe some compatible file format, or maybe just in a PNG, JPG kind of a format,
Yeah, it's
right?
in a PDF format already. So,
Then it's fine, no? So if it is a PDF format, then what is wrong
I
with
meant
that?
to say because the drawing is very complex. So should we split that drawing into multiple chunks or should we just storage as it in single piece?
As of now, try to store it as it is. That will be much better in a high quality, right? And then whenever
Okay.
client will be asking for a question, so just pass that design to LLMs, OpenAI, or maybe the latest model which understands images in a better manner. Rest part will be done by OpenAI.
Okay,
That's it.
fine, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, LLM model itself. Okay. Yeah, Jitendra, I think you have raised your hand. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, Jitendra.
Yes, Constance. So nothing actually. Today is my first day, and
Is it?
yes, yes, nice to meet
Hi.
you. And I am with you from 2021 actually, or 2020 actually. So
Okay.
I enrolled for
But why first day in this one? Because this is
yes,
nice.
I'm coming on that part. So I
Okay.
enrolled for August
Okay.
course, and I talked with Divyansu, and I requested like, can I attend
Oh, okay.
some meeting with you guys? So,
Okay, got it. Okay. So basically, you are going to come in August batch. Okay,
yes,
fine.
yes. But I will join these also just to understand
Fine, not an issue. Yeah, I'm like this is this will go in its own. I think you are already me, right? So yeah,
yes, yes,
that's
I know
fine.
you
So
very
you know
well.
the how I used to teach. That's fine.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm very fan,
Mhm.
like
Okay,
very
okay,
big fan of you.
okay. Thank you so much. Thanks so much, Jitendra. Thank you. So we'll learn a lot. We'll do a lot.
Yes, yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Right.
yes, guys. So August batch we are going to start from 10th. I mean, inauguration we will be doing on 10th. 10th is Monday, I believe. Yeah. So I will not be taking this classes. I will be taking your class on Tuesday and Wednesday next week because I have to do an inauguration. It's a weekdays, so I have to do an inauguration in a evening time. Their batch time is different. Their batch time is basically Saturday, Sunday, morning 8. But yeah, inauguration I have to do it, and then I'll start a class from next week. So next week, just for FYI, as Jitendra have highlighted, so this came in my mind. uh, your class next week is going to happen on Tuesday and Wednesday. Simple. Yeah. Plus, along with that, yes. So anyone, your friends, family, your neighbor, or anyone, right? Friends, enemy, anyone. So if they would like to join August batch, so maybe you can recommend. Please extend deadline of mini project as currently 5th August extended the deadline by 1 week. Okay, fine. Just give me a reminder. What happens? No, I used to get a lot of like a messages, so very difficult to digest. If I'm in front of desk, it happens immediately. Otherwise, I used to forward to my team, or sometime I forget completely. So my bad. So fine, everyone. Thank you so much. Tomorrow we are going to learn basically Terraform, guys, and we are going to like extend it next week. So tomorrow it's not going to be the end of the this particular topic, right? Infrastructure provisioning topic. Uh, there will be more to it, right? Because it's very very important things for all of us. So with that, thank you so much. Take care and see you again, guys, in next class tomorrow, 8 p.m. IST. Take care, everyone. Thank you.